It's straightforward stuff. It's not complicated at all. I trust the Welsh people. The politicians who are afraid of this are almost saying that the Welsh people are thick. And I think we must examine exactly where these Welsh politicians are coming from.
Well, the term Super Thursday comes from the United States of America, where it's a big thing indeed. Once every year or two, I think it is, isn't it? I'm here with Dennis Campbell, the political commentator. Just explain to us what Super Thursday is.
Well, for us, it's Super Tuesday, and it's a period of time where you have a number of the primaries that come all at once. And typically, most elections are determined because there's about 20 or so states that vote on the same day. And when that happens, you pretty much know by the end of the voting. Now, what we saw in 2008 was that it was pretty much a split down the middle, as had been the previous election results in the primaries. So you ended up with many, many more contests right until the very, very end. Shortly after Super Tuesday, for example, Barack Obama went on an 11-contest winning streak, and then from there, Hillary Clinton could not play catch-up.
I mean, that's obviously the presidential election, which tends to get more people out, more people voting. The thing that we often hear about is, people go out and vote for the dog catchers and vote for their, local chief of police. But is there a particularly large turnout for those kind of elections?
Well, I would liken it very much so to what we saw in the European parliamentary elections. Typically, in what we call either the municipal elections or the elections that are on a statewide basis, or even the statewide primaries, where you're trying to determine who the candidates will be in the general election, those tend to have a turnout of between 20 to 25%. I just received a ballot paper, for example, from Nashville, Tennessee, and on that ballot paper were 2 questions regarding whether 2 local judges should be kept. Now, that judgeship issue tends to be a hotter local issue, and a party or a group seems to think that they will be successful because the turnout will be so low. It's very similar to what you saw with the advance of the British National Party and UKIP in the parliamentary elections. However, once you get to the general election, your turnout numbers go up well above 50%, 60%, in our case almost 70%, and then you have a much broader issue. So the question becomes not should you include a ballot initiative or a ballot question, but when, because the timing, depending on the motivation of those that are pushing the issue, can be crucial.
In terms of that, I mean, we often hear sort of from California where, one big issue, I think gay marriage was the most recent one that was on the ballot paper there, but that's on the ballot paper with 20 or 30 other issues, isn't it? Is there a danger that if you have one, as we may have on Super Thursday, you actually crowd out anything else that you might be wanting to talk about?
Could be a danger, but for issues as simple as these, where they're straight up or down votes, and there's 2, maybe 3 issues that would be involved, I think it's a bit of an insult to the voter to think that they cannot handle choosing their individual representative in the Welsh Assembly as well as coming up with a cogent answer to the 3 questions. The broader issue becomes if you move from a first past the post to a more proportional representation. I covered a story for the Dutch election recently, where theirs has a ballot paper that is one of the largest papers I've ever seen on the planet, with 10 or 12 different parties, candidates listed under. You pick your party, then you pick your candidate. It was confusing for me. So it becomes an issue of, can people handle it? Of course they can. And it obviously is a lot cheaper.
Okay, on that positive note, thank you, Dennis Campbell. I think it also gives new meaning to the old phrase, vote early, vote often.